You want to know what a pro sports bettor is betting in week 14 of college football? Well, we're going to do it a little differently this week. What we've been doing in the RAS College Football Show all season long is we've been going right to Eddie's best bet. And then we've been kind of just breaking down the most high-profile matchups of the week, so to speak. But our man Eddie has called an audible at the line of scrimmage. That's what the great ones do. And so what we're going to do this week is we're going to go through some of his personal favorite games, not just the SEC, not just the Big Ten. We're going to go through his personal favorite games of the week and some thoughts that he has. So, Eddie, good to be with you. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too.
And if we have questions, as always, we will certainly get to those in the chat. So we appreciate all of you who have been with us all season long here on the YouTube show. And so if you have questions, make sure to get those in. All right, let's kick it off, Eddie, with a little Thanksgiving game in the AAC. Memphis at Tulane. Tulane favored by 13.5 with a total here of 55 as the Green Wave try to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping for a better number here, but I'm probably going to end up being on Memphis. I'm still going to wait it out. I just think that they're a better dog than favorite. And all of their peripherals show that they kind of play down to opponents, play up to opponents. Tulane has everything wrapped up in the AAC. There's no home field advantage for their championship game. So, I guess I'll take 14 if I have to. I just thought for a reason. I just think that everybody's perception of Tulane is they're a murderer's row. And I mean, they can pretty much do whatever they want against anybody they want. But the competition has been really, really weak after the out-of-conference schedule. I like Memphis quarterback situation. I don't like their pass defense. Their run defense is really good. We've got a really, really ball control heavy guy in Summerall at Tulane. So I think I'm probably going to end up on Memphis at some point here. I will wait it out. I mean, if the worst I can do is 13.5, 14, I will take it. I know somebody that's really interested in the over. If it gets much lower, that makes a lot of sense to me as well.
Yep.
I don't really know if I can play Tulane in big games over personally, but Memphis is going to have to throw the ball, and they have the superior quarterback to do that with. I mean, I completely understand everybody's reasoning for loving Tulane. I mean, they are absolute giants, especially on defense. So, yeah.
Bob says he leans Memphis at 14, scared to pull the trigger.
Me and you both, Bob. We're going to figure it out by tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
What do you got here, John? I know you got something. It's Memphis.
You and I talked about it. I mean, I'll just say it. It's my best bet of the week. It's my best bet of the show. It's Memphis plus 14. Now, it's not 14 anymore. I'll still say Memphis plus 13.5, though, because I don't know how much better that number is going to get for us in terms of backing Memphis. I mean, maybe a 14 pops market wide. I don't think we're going to see 14.5. And it's real simple. I think it's exactly what you said, Eddie. It's a lot different when you're backing this group as a 2-touchdown dog versus laying 2 touchdowns with them. Historically, this is a spot where Silverfield has been better. We've seen it over the years, like Iowa State in the bowl game last year comes to mind, right? He was a 10-point dog in the Liberty Bowl. They won the game outright. I think Tulane's rating has probably gone a little too far based on who they've played. They haven't seen a team the caliber of Memphis in a while. And I would also say, just anecdotally, look at last week. Look at all the teams that were trying to preserve their playoff lives and their survival. Almost every team either won a close game or lost outright. These teams are getting tight, especially against in games where the other team is basically nothing to lose, right? Nothing to play for other than just play spoiler. So I do know this. Memphis has talked about it this week, Eddie. They've said they want to do this. They want to play spoiler. They're up for it. It's obviously not the season they wanted to have, but I do think they're going to find a way to keep this very competitive and close in New Orleans. So I've got 14. I'd still play 13.5. It's my best bet of this week. All right. Moving right along, Ball State at Ohio. This is a Friday night game. Ohio is minus 16.5 here with a total of 52.
Yeah, I laid it with Ohio. If they win, they go to the MAC championship. Ball State got absolutely just crushed by Bowling Green last week. Ohio has pretty similar offense and defense to Bowling Green. They play a little bit faster than Bowling Green, who we'll get to in a second. Ball State playing for absolutely nobody, for nothing. They have no coach currently. They're going to have a new coach in about 2 weeks. And, I can't find any reason to not back Ohio here. And I just think that they have absolutely the most incentive to win out of anybody that we're going to talk about. that you can lay points with. You know what I mean? Like you just talked about a big letdown spot for certain teams. When you're facing, you want to look this week subjectively at teams who are playing for something against teams who aren't playing for anything. That's been an angle that's been true for as long as I've been doing this. So
yeah, we do have some housekeeping questions, Eddie.
Sure.
Are you wearing contacts?
No, I'm just not wearing my glasses, so I'm a little bit blind right now. But thank you for asking. I tried contacts, but I'm blind in one eye, so it was always.
We got to get the show sponsored. We got to get the show sponsored by a contacts company.
Oh my God, send it. We need sponsors. That'd be great.
All right, you mentioned it. Bowling Green, Miami, Ohio, on the road at Bowling Green. Bowling Green -3 total here of 39.
Oh my God, so this was like going to be my best bet, but I just got hammered, like absolutely destroyed on the total. We have wins. We have quarterback, and we have the tight end for Bowling Green might not play. Fannin. He's going to be an NFL tight end. He's probably the best tight end in all of college football. He's hurt. We don't know what the injury is. Either way, like we have crazy amounts of weather in this game. So I will tell you, I'm playing Miami, Ohio at +3 as well. I think that there's not much difference in these teams, and Chuck Martin in a close game this time of year with weather. I love that angle. I'm not a big fan of Loeffler. I'm a big fan of Martin. He's been good to me after all these years. So +3, and I can't really recommend the under anymore at this point. I mean, it was 45.5 at open. I think I got some 43.5, 42.5. Now we're talking 38. That's pretty wild. So yeah. So I don't know. I like Miami, Ohio, especially in these spots. 3 is kind of a gift in my opinion. I made it closer to pick.
Getting some comments in the show. I just kind of want to get your general philosophy on stuff like this. Summerall's been linked to this UNC opening, the Tulane.
Yeah, it's big.
You do factor that in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Tulane's going to let go of them that easily. That is a program with some money who just paid them a lot of money to come there, and I mean, it makes all the sense in the world for me. I mean, if UNC can grab them and afford that buyout and everything else, then absolutely. I mean, who's done better than him? I mean, he's like 24-6 in his 24-5, I think, with 2 conference championships in the last 2 years in the Sun Belt, which was a really, really good Sun Belt on top of it.
Yep.
It could be a distraction for sure.
Yeah. To me, like just when it comes to stuff like that, it's like, all right, let's see if Tulane can find a way to, does Boise State lose? Can they find a way to get in the playoff? Right. That's still because if you're a guy that's set up to do that every single year, you don't have to necessarily leave just for any Power 5 job. You can kind of keep it rolling. But
he can wait for any job he wants, really, at this point. Yeah. I mean, if Kentucky comes open, he's taking Kentucky over North Carolina because he has strong ties to Kentucky. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah, there's definitely something there.
Yep. All right, moving right along here. Liberty at Sam Houston State. Liberty's -3 total here of 47.5.
Yeah, I'm not involved in this game, but I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a lot of information on all these games. So if Sam Houston State wins, then they are going to be possibly in the conference championship game. If Liberty wins, they're already in the conference championship game, which will lead to a different bet down the road. So this is what we're going to do. Liberty, if they win, then it really doesn't make a difference in our second bet. But if Sam Houston State wins, then we're kind of free rolling on this bet that I'm going to give you, which is Western Kentucky, which is one of my best bets of the entire week at -1.5, -2. So Jacksonville State already clinched absolutely everything in the Sun Belt. They have absolutely no reason to go out there and try this week. If they have anybody that's banged up, they're probably going to hold them back because they play a game next week, which just has tons more significant to that program than this game this week. So if Liberty wins, a lot of people say, well, Western Kentucky's not playing for anything. Possibly, but at the same time, it's senior night with a pretty special program with a pretty damn good coach. I don't think they're going to go out there and just be like, we made a bowl and that's good enough for us. And not only that, you get to beat Jacksonville State. So there we go. So that's going to be Western Kentucky -2. And I would say that if you like this bet already and Sam Houston State pulls off the upset, the small upset at home, you're free rolling. This might be 4 or 5, whatever. So yeah, the Liberty game takes place on Friday, obviously. So yes, we're aware.
Yeah. All right. There you go. Some intrigue there. I like it. Yeah. It's a layered bet here. All right, moving right along. Nebraska at Iowa. Iowa and the Hawkeyes are -4.5 with a total here of 39.
Okay, this is going to be an unpopular take. I'm playing over in this game. There's a couple of factors here. People are like, well, you have a fourth string quarterback at Iowa. First of all, they throw the ball like 12 times a game, but they've been pretty explosive on offense all year long. We're talking about an Iowa team that's 12 points better on offense than they were last year. Their passing numbers don't reflect that. The biggest factor here is that since Holgerson's come in, Nebraska is throwing the ball about 27 times per game. They threw it down the field and scored 44 points last week on Wisconsin. I have Wisconsin and Iowa's defenses pretty close. They're rating pretty close together. I'm closer to 43 on this, so I was pretty happy with the over in this situation. No weather to speak of that I can find. I can't figure out why people are in such a hurry to bet this Iowa team under every single week. They're 9-2 or 8-3 to the over. They've been good with me with overs this year. And Nebraska kind of got a shot in arm when they got Holgerson. I like what they're doing. If they can keep Raiola next season, we might be talking about a very special Nebraska team. I lean Nebraska in this game at 4.5, but I just felt comfortable with the over.
Yeah, we usually, for reference, only cover about 5 or 6 games a week. We've already done that, and we have a lot more to go here today on this show. UTSA at Army. UTSA got the job done for us last week on our best bet against Temple. Really wasn't even a doubt. Army coming off of a drubbing at the hands of Notre Dame, but now obviously get back to AAC play, -7 with a total here of 54.5.
All right, so I'm going to start off by giving a shout out to somebody, which is Brad Powers. I don't actually listen to Brad Powers' shows or anything like that, and that's no offense to him. I just don't like to be influenced by other people. But somebody on Twitter linked me to this thing where Brad had figured out that no team has covered after facing Notre Dame because they're so physical. I don't necessarily know if that's the angle that I would go with when it comes to like playing games, but there is a bigger angle here. So Army plays in the conference championship game next week. Then they play the next week at Navy. Those are probably the 2 biggest games, not just for the season, but maybe in a long time for Army. I don't think Army's ever played in a conference championship game because they've been independent for so long. They already know their opponent, which is Tulane. I imagine they spent a lot of time talking about Tulane and Army opposed to UTSA. So I took the 7 with UTSA. I don't mind the angle that Brad pointed out. It's a great angle. But I just think this time of year, you got to think subjectively and look at scheduling so much. I'm not a huge fan of this UTSA team. I'm not going to lie to you. They've kind of been bad to me other than totals, but I think this is a perfect situational spot.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. They got their bowl eligibility. I mean, this is about as big as a game as they're going to play. I mean, it's pretty easy to get up for a conference championship appearing team. So I can't argue you. All right, Virginia at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech -7.5 with a total here of 48.5.
Yeah, so I haven't done anything with this game yet, and I was going to give it to you guys. So Virginia Tech has probably had the most injuries of any offense I can think of, and maybe the longest in the last couple of years at least. They've had a rotation of quarterbacks. Then they went from Drones to Schlee. Schlee got hurt. Then Drones came back for a half a game. He got hurt. Last week they went with some kid that I've never even heard of after Schlee went out in the first half. If you get an update of Drones playing in this game, I like Virginia Tech. If you get an update of Drones not being able to go, then I like Virginia. It's just that easy. And they're both playing for bowl eligibility. It's a huge rivalry. Virginia is like finding guys that haven't played since like week 4 off their injury list. They're suddenly healthy. Trell Harris, their best wide receiver, who hasn't played since week 6, is playing apparently. So, I mean, Virginia is up for this game for sure. The talent disparity between these 2 teams is not great. I think Virginia Tech is the much better team. I don't think they have a very good coach personally, but just wanted to give you guys that heads up. So if you do see something on Saturday afternoon that says that Drones is playing, then Virginia Tech is a play. If he's not playing, then Virginia's a play. It's just that simple.
There you go. I mean, you're covered. You're covered in this game. Just stay on, do a little work. We got to put a little work on them, Eddie. Sure. But yeah, you've got the blueprint there. All right, Central Michigan at Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois -11.5 with a total here of 44. What you got? All
right, we got weather and we got some interesting things to talk about. So Central Michigan went out the last time that they played and did Wildcat for the entire game. 8-minute drives, 7-minute drives. Northern Illinois' defense is very, very stout. But Northern Illinois lost its quarterback, Hampton, in the last game that they played. there's high winds in this game. It's going to be kicking is going to be hard. Passing is going to be hard. I expect a lot of running. So under 44, under 43.5 is definitely a play I could recommend. It's what I played.
All right. So there you have it. Good stuff there. As we're moving right along here on the last edition of the regular season RAS College Football Show. Eddie, nice enough to go down. I mean, you're spraying the board here, man. You're spraying the board. We got a little rivalry here. Eastern Michigan, Western Michigan. Western Michigan -7 with a total here of 56.5.
This is for all the marbles. Whoever wins this game ends up going to a bowl. And for those that don't know, bowls for MAC teams are absolutely everything. You can actually afford some new facilities. You can afford a little bit of NIL. Who knows? You might be able to get a offensive coordinator, and you get bowl practices. And when you have these kind of rosters, bowl practices are essential. Creighton is probably my favorite coach in all of college football. Anybody that knows me knows that. It's because he covers as a dog, especially as a dog of 7 or more. Neither one of these teams have won a game in a month. I don't know how anybody thinks that Western Michigan is a full touchdown better than Eastern Michigan at this point. I also think that we're dealing with 112th and the 90th worst defenses in the entire country. So I did play over for a little bit, but my main play is on Eastern Michigan +7.
All right, there you go. Eastern Michigan +7. I think I caught you tweeting about the Marshall coach earlier in the week.
I did.
Big fan, it sounds like you are of the Marshall coach.
Absolutely.
He's in action at James Madison. James Madison -3.5, total of 52. Were you tipping us off to something you like in this game with that tweet, Eddie?
Well, if Marshall wins, then they go to the conference championship, flat out. They don't have to worry about anything else. We'll get to the next game, which will cover that as well. And then James Madison has a very, very good team. They're not going to lay down. They don't really care that Marshall is super psyched to play in this spot and maybe go their first conference championship in a long time. The thing about both these teams is they love to run the ball, and they're both a little James Madison's pretty methodical in doing so. They don't connect on a lot of passes, and you do have to beat Marshall by running the ball. I ended up playing under 52.5. I was looking for a little bit of a better number on Marshall. It never really got there. I don't think it's going to, which is unfortunate because I think they are playing at a level that the market has never caught up to all season long. They're 9-1-1 against the spread, the best in the nation.
Wow.
They've been very good to us here at Right Angle. I think we backed them 2 or 3 times. I mean, I just think that Marshall's coach is really, really special, and nobody seems to realize that. Like, he's switched he's lost coordinators. He's had to develop like kids out of the portal that weren't very good. And I mean, we got Braxton at quarterback. He couldn't even make it on the field at Tulsa, and he's absolutely crushing everybody with his legs. He's a pure runner. I mean, it's really, really run based. They started off with an air raid halfway through the year. They switched to like this running system. I mean, I think Huff is very, very special. So,
yeah. It seems like it's probably, like you said, it's probably time for him to be in the mix somewhere.
Yeah, he needs a better job for sure. And not that Marshall's a bad job. It's just they don't have the funding.
That's
and
right.
He came from Alabama. I think he can do special things recruiting for a bigger school.
Absolutely right. All right, moving right along here. And again, if you got questions, we'll have a little bit of time after we run through these to hit those. App State at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern -2.5, total here of 62.5.
All right. So if Georgia Southern wins and Marshall loses, then they face ULL in the conference championship game. That being said, App State, if they win, then they go to a bowl, which is very big for them, especially considering what they went through halfway through the year with losing their practice field and, you know, Boone, North Carolina being underwater and them having to cancel a game against Liberty. But App State has done something very interesting that a lot of people haven't taken notice, and I'm one of the few that has. They completely changed the offense. They're very run heavy all of a sudden. They don't want to get into shootouts because they were losing those early in the season. And Georgia Southern has kind of regressed on offense, but last week they looked incredible on defense. Neither one of these teams really want to get into a shootout with each other, I don't think. So I ended up playing under 62.5. If I ever got like a 3.5, then I was going to be on App State, to be quite honest with you, because I think that Georgia Southern is very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but they have really down games. You could see one fall on their face here, especially with this much on the line. It's also a situation where, I mean, they're playing for absolutely everything as well when it comes to the conference championship game. It's going to be a close game. So I just felt better with the under than I did anything else.
Understandable. And we covered Jacksonville State at Western Kentucky. One of Eddie's best bets today, Western Kentucky -2. I don't know if you move that, you dirty dog. It might still be -2.
I didn't do anything while we were talking. I just went to 2.5. That's all.
Okay, all right.
A little bit of line movement from the audience.
Yeah, just the audience. All right. Kansas at Baylor. We talked about this Kansas-Colorado game. I was very sad. I understood that, that was probably a Kansas spot. Coach Prime said we just didn't handle. We got intoxicated by the success, and Kansas certainly, benefited from that. Now they go to Baylor where they're -1 with a total of 62.
Not involved in this game, but I did want to talk about it a little bit. I don't think that people realize how good Kansas has been recently. They've beaten 4 straight ranked opponents in 4 straight weeks. I think it's the first time any team has done that in college football history or something like that. I honestly was hoping for a better number on the total, but it's not going to get there, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I do want to let everybody know that we have somebody at RAS who does like Kansas quite a lot, and I wanted to pass that along to everybody. I personally cannot get involved in this game, but somebody who I really, really respect laid the one this morning with Kansas. So
if you don't want to expound, don't feel like you have to. I'm just curious though, like it's what's not to love about Kansas in this
absolutely
spot?
There's nothing. I mean, I can't argue with it. It's just that my numbers have it at Kansas -1. But I mean, he made the valid point that like, you really think that Kansas is going to go out there and not give 100% effort? And maybe Baylor really struggled to move the ball against Houston last week.
Yep.
And Baylor's been absolutely great. So it's hard for my power numbers to like catch up to how good Kansas has been. But man, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me for sure. They're steamrolling everybody.
Yeah. All right. Staying around Kansas, at least. Kansas State at Iowa State. Iowa State's -2.5 with a total here of 50.5.
Yeah, this is a game that every single year I seem to get wrong. So hopefully I get right this year. I ended up playing over. So, I mean, there are certain games where every single year you lose money on, no matter what. I think last year we were on the under, and this game ended up 35-42 or something like that in a complete blizzard. So that was pretty funny. But this is a huge game for both programs. They take it extremely serious. I think it's called Farmageddon. And this year it comes down to Iowa State's run defense has not been very good. I think they're 80th in the nation. It's their only hole on their entire team. Kansas, obviously very run-based, especially with Avery Johnson back there. Yep. Kansas State's pass defense has been really bad all season long. There's no way to look past it. So, yeah, I end up playing over 50.5, and hopefully I get the 35-42 result of last year, and I don't have to sweat the second half. I didn't have to sweat the second half last year either, just in a different fashion. So
there you go.
Hopefully we get there.
You're due, man.
I'm due.
You're 8 months. You're due. All right.
Yeah.
New Mexico at Hawaii. Total here of 61.5. New Mexico is -3.
All right. This is Mike Raz's MWC best bet of the year, and I agreed with it. We talked about it. Me and Mike work together every Sunday and Monday on college football. Even though he's busy with college hoops, he always lets me have his ear for 20 minutes to an hour a week, which is very kind of him. But let's talk about this really quick. So we have Mendenhall in a must-win game to go to a bowl against Hawaii, who just lost their lax game 61-7, I believe, or something like that at Utah State, and their quarterback got hurt. We don't know whether or not Traeger is going to be able to go in this game. If he can't go, then you basically get 2 freshmen who have had no snaps all year long, one who looked absolutely dreadful against Utah State. New Mexico is free-rolling in a way that we have not seen a lot of teams do in the past. Their regular season win total was 2.5. They were picked last in the Mountain West Conference. They have a quarterback who's probably going to end up in the SEC next year. He's going to be highly touted as probably the top transfer in the entire conference. I mean, maybe in the entire FBS, for God's sakes. New Mexico vibes are just so high. I just really can't see them going to a place like Hawaii against a team that really doesn't play for anything. They're not bowl eligible anymore. I mean, the game is being shown on pay-per-view, so good luck trying to sweat that. I've had to do that a couple times in the past. Yeah, the Yahoo updates just don't come quick enough. But anyways, yeah. So we like New Mexico -3.
All right, there you have it. Got a few questions here. I mean, they did ask us about the big dogs here. Angelo says Missouri, Arkansas. Anything there for you?
Nothing. I kind of lean under because Missouri is so run-heavy based this year. and their second best wide receiver ended up having season-ending injury last week. So, I mean, I guess like I kind of leaned under, but I was at like 53. It's at 54.5. It's not something I was like super excited about. And then I kind of leaned Missouri. I'm sorry, I kind of leaned Arkansas, but their best results are always against teams at home, and they have to throw it a lot. Missouri's pass defense has been pretty stout. Both run defenses are really, really good. Hence why I like the under. But yeah, I didn't have enough to get there. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay. A few more here. Changing 500 wants to know Miami on upset alert.
I mean, I think if you're on upset alert, then you play the over, which I did for a small amount. I just think that both teams are going to throw the ball about 50 times on each other. And I think that as bad as McCord has been throughout the year, this is probably one of the worst pass defenses you can have faced. Miami's pass defense is really, really bad, and nobody seems to notice. Maybe they do. I guess we're seeing totals of the high 60s now. But, I mean, it's going to be a shootout. It's on turf in a dome. Maybe they get upset, but is Syracuse good enough on defense to cause that? I really don't know, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, nothing for me there, but a little bit of over.
I also kind of think Miami has basically existed on upset alert every game this year. Like that's just where they live. So I would just say that's their default setting. And sometimes they find a way to not lose, but I just feel like by default they're that's exactly where they are.
Yeah, I mean, also people like to point out that maybe Miami isn't playing for anything because they already got the ACC championship game locked up, stuff like that. But
yeah,
man, I don't know. Syracuse, like they're just so bad on defense at certain times that I just really can't trust them to be the team that stops Cam Ward. 11 is quite a lot on the road,
yeah,
especially in the last game where you might have a little bit of a look ahead. I guess I could see it. I mean, I guess I would lean plus 11, but I made it. I can look really quick. I think I made it like 10, so it wasn't like a huge disparity for me.
Right. Ryan asks Texas A&M with the points against Texas this weekend.
I absolutely can't argue with it, but I don't have a play there. I mean, I've been against Texas. I was on Kentucky last week. I was on Arkansas under the week before that. I feel like I have a good read on this Texas team. I don't know. I don't think that Quinn Ewers is healthy by any means. Unfortunately, I was on I was on Auburn under last week, and Texas A&M's defense does not look up to task for me at all. So, I mean, like, I just really don't know what I think of Texas A&M. I haven't been involved in many of their games, but when I watch them, they just never really impress me. They're always trailing, and then they come from behind. I do think they have something special with the Reed kid going forward, but yeah, I wasn't involved. I think I'm at 6.5 or 5.5. Sorry, 5.5 and 49.5. So I was pretty close to the number there.
Yeah. Michigan, Ohio State.
The game.
Yeah, well, not so much, but
normally the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could only play Ohio State, and I could only play over, and I didn't end up doing either. I do think that you do get the opportunity where if Ohio State wants to rub it in, then these two are correlated for sure. Michigan showing me a lot on offense against Northwestern last week kind of made me think, oh, wow, the over might be a great play. And then I looked at their resume and I was like, I don't know, man. So yeah, I'm at 44 and I was at 21.5. So it's like very, very thin on both sides. I just stayed away. I love these types of games. I think I bet Ohio State, Michigan over every single year. It's just that, man, I've got to suspect that Michigan hasn't faced a defense like this.
Right.
And I'm really if I'm betting the over, I'm just hoping that like Ohio State scores 35 and does something dirty at the end there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's too much of a guessing game for me. I mean, I know I'm going to get full effort from Michigan, but do they have the talent? Probably not.
Yeah. Adam says Pitt BC he's predicting what you're going to say here, expecting you to say BC or nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he's right. So let's talk about it. I mean, so Pittsburgh lost their quarterback in the first half last week, Holstein. Yellen comes in, looks absolutely atrocious. Their offensive line, Narduzzi won't tell you who's playing and who's not. We just know that 3 starters probably aren't going to go. And Pitt was one of those teams that was like 7-0, lost a game, and then just fell off the cliff, like completely. They're getting blown out every which way. The only problem I have is that Boston College has a plethora of defensive backfield injuries. Two starters are questionable there. I haven't done anything with it. I need clearance on those guys. If they don't go, then, I'm probably leaving it alone. If they can go, then I'm going to probably play BC up to like -5.5, -6. I don't really mind the over in that game. I can see why people are hitting it because Boston College is scoring like 35 points a game the last 3 weeks since they made the quarterback change. But yeah, I don't have anything there quite yet.
Well, folks, this has been a rock solid half hour.
I fully expect to go like 35% this week, but I wanted to give you guys at least what I bet. And I want to thank everybody for following us. I mean, the messages every single week are so encouraging, and thank you for everybody tuning in. I also want to thank Ed, Jeff, Travis, Mike, and of course you, John.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
And Adam, we got to thank Adam.
I mean, it's a team effort here. There's no doubt about it. And we will obviously not be back next week as the regular season is over. However, the plan is to do one more of these for bowl season. I know so many people, they still talk about that bowl podcast from 2 years ago. I mean, it's like the commandments, man. So we are going to we're going to run that back. It'll be a new face, obviously, with me, but it's been a lot of fun, and happy Thanksgiving to you, Eddie, and to all of you guys who have been tuning in all season long. Hopefully we can do this again next year, and we'll have more details for you on the bowl special. So again, thanks for tuning in. Best of luck this week, my friend.
Thank you so much. And thanks for everybody, and good luck this weekend, guys.